How's it going? Amazing to talk to all of you again. It is Ayrton back with another Ayrton's football adventure. I had the amazing pleasure of speaking to Ali, great friend of mine. It was so awesome to do that. I can't wait to show you guys the episode. If you guys do enjoy, please leave a like and please subscribe. Get ready for it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good, man.
Ale, what's up, man?
How you doing, bro? It's been a long time, man.
I know, bro. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, how long would it have been, you reckon?
How long? Probably 2 years or more?
Yeah, I was gonna, cause like...
Like 3 years, man.
Oh, 3 years since I left Tusculum, yeah? So it was probably 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 years, man. It's crazy.
And bro, it flies, huh? Time?
I turned 25 yesterday, man.
I know, bro. Happy belated birthday for yesterday, man. It's crazy.
Appreciate it.
It's crazy. We were a couple of 19, 20-year-olds in college, and now...
I know, man. Because I think I was 20 when I met you. It was my second year.
Yeah.
19, almost 20. So yeah, man, it's been 5 years since the first time.
I know, bro. It's so... Bro, it's so crazy. It's literally like how it goes, how fast the college... Bro, it's crazy, man. That's why, like, I think about it as well. My brother, when I moved, obviously, to America, first time, right? My brother was 13.
Yeah.
He was 13, little kid. Now he's 19 and he's 6'8".
Crazy.
It's
man.
ridiculous,
It's-
right?
I believe the 4 years in college, those 4 years, man, they go by so fast. Especially those 4 years when you are in college, living the college life, it flies, man, flies, because you're enjoying it so much. To be honest,
Still drinking your mate, huh?
you know, man,
I remember. Can't live without
time to
that.
drink some mate, right? When we talk
Of course. But honestly, how's things been, man? You've been this is year number 3 for you outside of college now, right?
yeah, you're number 3, second in Italy.
Second in Italy. So you spent your first year in Spain playing, correct?
Yeah, so it was crazy, man, because I was about to graduate when COVID started. It was 2 months, man, 2 months, and we had graduation. I remember Pau, Africa, all of them, like their families had booked the tickets to fly to the US, everything. So we were almost there, and we missed the graduation, man. It was so sad. I was for 2 months. I couldn't leave the US because I couldn't enter Argentina. There were no flights.
Yeah.
And then I got home and I spent like 4 to 5 months in Argentina, and then I went to Spain.
And then you went to Spain, okay. But yeah, that whole time, I still remember for myself, it was crazy, like football-wise, but even college-wise, just graduating and stuff, like everything that goes on.
It came literally for me, it was like the worst moment because I was about to graduate. I mean, football-wise, it was terrible because I finished school and I didn't have any place to go and play. And it was the key moment to find a team, once you left, you finish. I was gonna go play in Med City, actually, remember?
Yeah, I do, yeah. That was, man, the times, how quickly it goes. COVID was over 2 years ago now.
Man, I know. But you know why? Also, like the time with COVID, it flied, man. Because it was like your life was at pause.
Yeah.
Nothing was going on.
No, nothing. Like, bro, I still remember being at school. We were training, and within 5 minutes, it went from everything's perfectly normal to every single person saying, "Nope, you're getting kicked out of school. You're not even attending school. You're not allowed to be here. Get out of here." And we're like, "What? What's going on?" We had guys that were from Italy. They were on flight the same night. Bam, see you later. I was like, it's so crazy.
They didn't allow you to stay?
No, so like, there were, it was so weird. Like, I remember myself, I stayed for like 2 days. And then obviously at the time I went with my girlfriend and we went and did our thing. Like, everything in the school was being shut down, everything. Like, it was so crazy how it worked when it was in Louisiana. Like, just... Yeah, and I mean, like, going back to school the next semester as well was masks for the next 2 years and all this paperwork stuff on your phone and that, right? Like, it was just,
No, I can't imagine, man.
No, it was chaos.
I can.
It was
And
chaos.
for sure, like the experience, the university, like the college experience, for sure was different while COVID was around, right?
Oh,
It was everything had to be weird.
no, Ali, the thing is, they tried to make it normal, but they made it worse, in my opinion. Like, for us, like, obviously, you know, as student athlete, you have to have classes in person.
Yeah.
Like, especially being international, right? We have to have classes in person. But that makes no sense because, like, remember COVID with the bubble, keep your bubble small. If I go to class, I'm seeing 30 other people and my bubble becomes 500 people, right? And it was just, that whole stuff with COVID and everything was just crazy, man. But let's talk about your football. Let's talk, what's going on now? You obviously, second year playing in Italy still. How did you playing in Italy obviously come about? Where did that come from? Was that just you emailing clubs and being like, yo, I want to come play in Italy? Or like, how do you go from playing college in America, obviously you ended up in Spain, to then playing in Italy? Like, how did that happen, man?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna try to do it as short as possible because, as you can imagine, it was a long journey, man.
I'm sure.
Like, it was crazy, but yeah. So, like I said, I had to go back to Argentina, graduating virtual, like online. And honestly, man, with all the COVID thing and everything, I was training by myself in Argentina, and I was thinking, this was terrible. Like, it came at the worst time because I was gonna play for Med City, and once I was done there, I was gonna go straight to Europe from the US, straight to Europe. As you know, I have the Italian citizenship, so that's why I'm playing here. Because if you don't have like a European citizenship, it's really hard, man. It's really hard. So that was an advantage. So I talked to Pau. And he said, well, he was playing the 5th division at the time, once we graduated. He said, yeah, come here to the club, I'll send the video to my coach, I'm going to talk to him, and come here, you can stay with me for a while. So I just booked the flight. It was crazy because I knew what I was doing, so it's not an easy choice, an easy decision. I just took the flight, and once I got there, everything went pretty well. Football-wise, I started to play once my transfer arrived. Started to play there with Pau in the 5th division in Spain. And I was also trying to find a job because in Spain, if you don't play like 3rd division, you don't get good money, man. Like, you're not getting good money. So I was playing and I had to find a job. But since it was COVID time, I couldn't find any job, man. It was crazy. Like, everything was closed. No one was even responding to my emails. So I ended up finding a job where Oscar lives. For the people that's hearing this, Oscar is another friend of us that played with us in the US. Pau and Oscar, both of them Spanish guys. So I ended up finding a job there, and I moved where Oscar was and played the same division there. Started practicing with a team there. And when August came, I knew, of course, like every team is here in Europe, it's when the season starts, August. So I knew an Argentinian guy that plays here in Italy, because it's full, man. It's full of Argentinians playing here because of most of us have like a Spanish or Italian citizenship. So it's full of Argentinians playing here in Italy. And I just texted one of them and I said, man, I really want to go play in Italy, but I don't have any contacts. If you can hook me up with someone that moves players, like a manager, not manager, what's the name?
Like an agent.
An agent. And he just said, okay, yeah, I talked to my agent and send your videos and your info and see what he says. And I swear, man, like probably 3 days after that conversation, I got a text in WhatsApp from a random number. And it was this guy, like the agent, Argentinian guy as well. He said that there was a team looking for a keeper. He saw my video, he was interested. And right away, we started talking about like the contract. He said, yeah, it's a deal. the club is gonna book your flight for tomorrow. And I literally had to pack everything in one day. I quit my job in Spain, so it was crazy. Basically, I swear, man. And I talked to my family. You know, it was a hard decision, but I was 22, almost 23, and I said, man, I'm a goalkeeper, 22. And for a long time, I was convinced that I had like the skill to play at a good level. So I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it at least I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna go enjoy football. And I'm gonna live from football, which was my dream when I was in college. You know. So I just said, let's go. And that's how it started, man. That's how I ended up in Italy.
It's honestly crazy, man. It's like, this is why these types of conversations are so cool, because like, as we know, right? We went to college together. How many other guys we know that come from different countries is ridiculous, right? I think Sean was really the only American we played with for 2 years, right? It's crazy. We have friends from France, Germany, Greece, you know, all over the world that are all doing the same just for college. And I say it's crazy again because you did it after college as well, right? You went back to Argentina and you're like, you know what? I'm going to leave my family again and go the other side of the world again, from South America all the way to Italy and Spain to keep playing. It's honestly, it's crazy to think about. And you know, when you process it, and it's like, wow, like you've done a good job with that, man, for sure. It's a crazy ride, like you said, right? Your journey, what you went through, you know, COVID year, especially finding a job. But like now you're obviously at a good place and you enjoy it, which is very good, you know?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, like you said. I remember in our team at Tosco, I think we had like 15 different nationalities in the team. And man, it was crazy because I think, to be honest, college football is underrated, man. It's actually underrated. There were a lot of guys in that team that they could definitely be playing football still at a good level, living from it and making their living from making money and not having to work. And I remember we had a couple of guys that they wanted to do it, but man, at the same time it's so hard, you know, because once you enter the college system, it's like you're going out of the football system, like the world from football, you know. So then when you have to come back to a club or something like that, it's hard, man. It's hard. That's why if you don't have any contacts, it's really hard, man. You need to have like an agent, find someone that can give you a hand, because you just get like, you're away from all of that once you enter the college system.
Oh, for sure, Reds, for sure, I completely agree. I even obviously finishing my masters now, right? I still know guys in the college system that on their resume and stuff like that, they're fantastic players, right? And like I said, how many guys we played with that on their resume, you know, like Artur played with Matteo Ganduzzi, Clement played for UEFA Youth Champions League finals, and Georgios was Greece under-19 captain. We have all these players that, Danny Malaga, Edgar, like every player we had almost had the high credential background in football, right? They come to college, nothing happens from college. It's the system, the way it works. Like even for American guys, there's American guys I know, obviously, like Javi played for one of the biggest D2 programs that we would have played against, like a Young Harris at University of Indianapolis. He didn't even get an easy way in. He had to do the little back routes during COVID and stuff like that. Like the college system it's underrated, but again, it's like its own little bubble. It doesn't help you with the pro scene and hopping into college. You're in college. It's not exactly a clear pathway to, I'm now in college and now I want to go somewhere.
Take it serious, man.
Yeah, it doesn't.
People don't take it serious. It's like when I tell people, where were you playing before, you know? I tell them, no, I was in college in America. They just can't understand it, man. They're like, wow, like they probably think if you play college in America, you literally can't kick a ball, you know?
Yeah.
So when I tell them this, they're like, oh, okay, and they don't know how it works or anything. And especially for international guys like us, man, in the US, it's almost impossible to make it. You know, it's really hard to get in a D1 being international. And if you get to the D1, even like not, there's not gonna be a single team that's gonna call you because you just can't be part of the roster because you're not American. You know? So I know a couple of guys, the Brazilian guy and then a guy from Chile, that the only way they could actually become pro in America was like because they found like they married someone, you know.
Yeah.
They married.
It's one of the, like for me, obviously, you know, we played D2 together. I ended up D1 only because I graduated. So my credits and my academic scholarships and academic money, they couldn't do anything with that because I'd already got my bachelor's degree and stuff like that, right? So again, for internationals coming to America, it's like, oh, D1 is the biggest one. We know that's not the case. Our team, especially when we played D1 schools in preseason. We beat them. We went in spring season, would play UNC Asheville, ETSU. Remember all those? We used to play against them. And so it's one of those things for internationals. It's so hard and crazy. But on like the whole marriage thing, right? It's one of the reasons why I didn't get offered a contract last year when I was on trial. Because I'm an international guy. From a business aspect, it doesn't make logical sense to spend $5,000 on getting me a visa when the return and how much money they're going to have to pay me and stuff. It's not worth the investment. It's always, all the English guys that I know out here, right? They've all had a girlfriend 3, 4, 5 years and they're ready to settle down, get married, and they don't even play football anymore, some of them. They're coaching and all this other stuff, right? It's honestly crazy, man. And like for me now, the reason why I'm still in America, obviously to finish my master's, and then if things don't work out in America, again, it makes no logical sense to stay in this country football wise because nothing's gonna happen, right? It's always figuring out the next step.
I remember, sorry to interrupt, man. I remember when I was like after my freshman year, when I went to, I told you this story, of course, but since this is gonna be like a video podcast, people don't know this. So when I finished my freshman year in NAIA, I knew I wanted to go NCAA, you know. And when I emailed schools, I emailed a lot of D1 schools, and I only emailed 25 schools from like the top 25 ranked schools from D2, and at that year Tusculum was ranked, you know, which is not normally the case. So that's crazy. That's a crazy thing that happened. But what I was gonna say is I got like 6 offers from D1 great schools, but man, like well, the cost of these schools is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy, and the things that Americans, they usually have scholarships that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I was offered a really good scholarship in those D1s, I remember UMass, University of Massachusetts, UMass Lowell, University of North Carolina, Wilmington, I think it's called.
UNCW.
Those are a couple I remember. I even talked to the coaches and they were telling me like, we want you here, everything. And then they offered me, I don't know, probably like 85% scholarship. And I couldn't afford it, man, because the school would be like 60.
Yeah, the school's 60,000.
Like 60 a year, you know? So it's like impossible for us. And probably guys from North Carolina, they can do this scholarship or this scholarship, and they end up like, or even their parents can help them. I'm from Argentina, man. My parents couldn't help. You know? So it's tough, man. It's tough for us.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's one of those things that, again, I think from the outside perspective, it's probably why people don't look at college serious in Europe and stuff like that, because they're like, he's getting a degree, he's focusing on this, he's not focusing on football. But like we know, there's a million other different things that go in. We were training every single day for 300 days a year. Some days we know you remember pre-season, we had 3 sessions a day. The run in the morning, we used to do the ball work in the middle, and every night was 11v11, right? Our days used to be 14, 15 hour days. We used to be up I still remember the one day I turned up late to the middle session one time, and we had to do sprints because I took a nap after our first running session and turned up, not even to training late, but I turned up we meant to be in the locker room 30 minutes before. I turned up 28 minutes before. We were doing sprints, and we were physically exhausted. We had training in the morning, afternoon, night. for 3 weeks straight. I still remember we used to do those yoga sessions. You remember? After the game, we wouldn't get home. We wouldn't get home till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and then we're back up in the morning at 6 a.m. for running on the hills in Tusculum. Like, it's people make out college it's a bit different. It's this, but no, the training was intense. The training is just as serious. The football for us, why did we go there? We went there to play football. Of course, we get a degree and stuff like this, but you're not going to fly from Argentina, the other side of the world, for some mess around soccer, you know? You're going to take it serious and do everything properly.
Yeah, man, I actually wanted to say something about that. Like, at the end of the day, you're still under a bit of pressure being like an international guy like us, because they bring you there to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they bring you there to play football, not to study, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the scholarship you get is not because you're a good student, it's because you're a good player.
Yeah.
And then you need to perform, so they keep your scholarship or make it better, or because if you don't perform, like, coaches probably will say, well, we can't give you the scholarship no more. So at the end of the day, you're actually there to play football.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to focus more the same in football than in academics, you know?
Yeah, I would completely agree. It's as if you're on a pro contract. Your scholarship is your pro contract. If you don't perform,
So
they can take your scholarship.
Yeah, so you actually have to like perform, like I said, practice, be serious, and I loved it, man. I loved every second of it, to be honest. College was amazing. The environment is amazing. Of course, there are things that are not good, but that's everywhere you go. There are gonna be things you don't like, you know. But in general, it was so good, man. I loved it.
It's one of the things I've been saying, because I'm still stuck in the college system. I kind of haven't got to the part where I miss college. I love everything about it. It's, like now, obviously, just doing my masters, playing football the tiniest amount, right? Focusing on school and this, and it's crazy. And that's why you look back, it was 4 years ago we won a conference championship together. That time has gone so fast.
4 years.
Like 4 years. I still remember I can still remember like it was yesterday, you know? Like, that's how fast the moments and everything happens. It's insane, honestly. Like, again, the friends that we haven't spoken to each other properly for a couple of years, right? Maybe a little here or there. Oh, how you going, man? Yeah, good. But it's something that I used to see you for 12 hours a day for 2 years straight. Like,
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, if you think about it, so the first thing you asked me is how I ended up here in Italy. And if it wasn't because I knew the Spanish guys, I probably wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, once you finish college, you have relationships with people and friends in different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's amazing, man. That's something really, really good. So yeah, man, it's been a crazy journey. And actually, the other day so I'm playing with our 3 Argentinian guys here in the team.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking, like, speaking about what was the happiest, the biggest joy you had in your career.
Uh-huh.
And even if I have been playing in Europe for 3 years, I told them, to be honest, my biggest joy was when we won the conference with Tusculum, because that day was amazing, bro. I remember I was so excited and emotional, bro. Like, I never had been like that, you know?
Yeah.
But it's because you are in that bubble and you are with these guys all day,
mm-hmm.
and they become your friend, your brothers, you know?
Yeah.
So achieving something with them, it just feels so good, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, again, it's like we are each other's family, you know? Like, yes, maybe on the football side of things, like the first year, right? You kind of flip-flopped games starting, right? But it's at the end of the day.
I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't supposed to be starting keeper, man. But then I ended up playing the conference games.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where that's still your brother. He's come from the other side of the world. I've come from the other side of the world. It's not where we're fighting in a club we had to, if we don't support each other, we're going to hate our lives for the 4 years, 2 years, however long we're there together, right? I always used to say, I used to hang out with you Spanish guys all the time, which was really weird in some space, because we always say, right? In college, we always say, you stick to the people that are similar to you because you want to feel like you're at home. But for me, it was, I'm comfortable with the Spanish guys. I had my English guys, Sammy, Paulos, and then we had all these different cultures, Georgios from Greece, all our Norwegian friends, right? We always had our little subgroups within the big group.
Yeah, that's normal, you know.
And it's so normal. Yeah, that happens at the highest level. We always find the teams that, like Manchester United, they have like 6-7 Brazilians. You know, the 6-7 Brazilians are best friends. They have their dinner together. They're the ones they're laughing for 2 hours. That's the stuff I miss from college, if anything. We used to train and do all that stuff. But it's when we used to go to the cafeteria on a Sunday, we'd sit there for 3 hours just talking shit for 3 hours, you know? That was,
I know, man.
That's what the enjoyment part was. That's the part that if I see here and say I miss that, it's probably that. I mean, of course, winning the conference was amazing, you know? I mean, the year we had, that year was crazy. I mean, I still remember we went 2-0 to start the season. I think we then lost 7 in a row. Remember, we started having
I don't know if we lost all of them, but
it was crazy. It was crazy. Because I remember the Queen's game, we went like 3-0 up. We lost 4-3. Lees McRae, Lees McRae was like 5-4. We like went up 3-1 and then conceded. There was these games, everything was going bad. And I still remember we met by the gym downstairs as a team without coaches. And we were in the hallway to the athletic training room. And we all just sat there and we went, guys, we can't have this happen. Like, we need to come together and stuff like that, right? I think we then went 13-1 for the rest of the season. Our only loss was Young Harris or something crazy, right? And we went like 12-1 or 13-1 or something crazy. We didn't concede a goal until the final in the conference tournament. We went clean sheet. Like, it was ridiculous. It was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, I remember the breaking point was like Queens was tough, man. We lost in the last 13 seconds. Remember?
I do.
The first game we lost was to Young Harris 4-0, and that was heartbreaking, man. And then we started to lose games, but yeah, at the end. So the first year we had really good players, but we were all new. Yeah. We didn't know each other, and it was a tough year, man. It was a tough year, and that was one of the reasons why when we ended up winning the conference, I was so happy because we had struggled in the past. Winning felt so good, you know, because also before the season started, I remember the coaches poll. They placed us like 7th in the conference, and then you end up winning. It's like, there you go, man. We were actually good, you know?
Yeah, it's one of the, you're right. I mean, from the first year, I think, including every player including like our JV team that we had, I think we had like 27 new players. And obviously, you remember, from our first year, we only lost Rocco, Andres, and Vasco. We only brought in Paulos, Artur. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, Sammy.
And Sammy.
Because Ivan left. So we lost 3, brought in 3. So we had the same group of guys, exact same group of guys for 2 years, right? And I remember, like, when we went into the spring, I think we started getting a bit confident in the spring because we were playing all these teams.
We got a couple of good results in the spring. Also against D1 schools. Remember that tournament we went to the final? We started to get confident.
That's why I still remember, and that's why I think you're right. Like, I think when we got to the end and we won, it wasn't just that season, you know. It was a team from 2 years ago that even back then we struggled because I still remember, like, my freshman year, your sophomore year, every game we lost was by 1. Nobody smashed us. Nobody beat us. We had so many draws as well.
We were probably start winning and then lost, and it was just a thing of like consistency. Showing consistency and team chemistry, you know, like we didn't know each other, and it's normal, man. You bring up a whole new squad, and those things are gonna happen. But the quality was there, man, it was great.
I completely agree, and obviously, you know, that's why, for me, like, it was hard to leave, you know, because it was one of those things. We were leaving a team that was so successful from the season before, but then obviously, you know, again, when it comes to scholarships and all these things, unfortunately, they're things that you don't get to control all the time, you know? It's like the reason, it's like when you said you left your first school, you wanted to go NCAA. There's obviously a bit more scholarships and all these other things, right? It's sometimes you don't get to choose where you end up. And I think that's one of the reasons why maybe college isn't taken so serious, because 95% of the reason why you play at a certain school is to do with money. Especially for us international guys. You said like you had UNC Wilmington. For me, I could never afford 20,000 a year there, like probably what it was, even if you got 85% scholarship, right? But you would love to play there.
Well, I'm not tell you. It was actually, I had to pay 13K.
Yeah,
and there was no way, man.
Yeah,
it was impossible.
Exactly. For some, it doesn't. So that's why it's kind of hard, you know, because the schools, Division 2, Division 3, NAIA, they would smash D1 schools, but it's got nothing to do with the ability or anything like that. It comes down to where the guys can get the most money. For international guys, the most money is D2 or NAIA, because they can get you all these different scholarships compared to Division 1. It's got nothing to do with the level and the standard. And we know that because, again, we played against so many teams.
You just need to look at the rosters, man. Like, the rosters in D1 is basically 80-90% American guys.
Yeah. Right, it is at my school here. It is at my school here. We have two New Zealand guys, and their grades are fantastic, through the roof. Like, fantastic grades. So their academic stuff, they're all sorted. And the other international guys are Canadian guys. So they're literally right in Toronto. We're right by Detroit, right? So it's literally they cross the border just like this.
It doesn't even count.
It doesn't exactly. I say it doesn't count. It doesn't even count. Like, you're literally right there. Like, you're closer to. You're right there. It's like Argentina to all the surrounding countries. It's one little drive. That doesn't count almost. You know, it's like it doesn't even count the Canadians. So no, you're right. Obviously, that was a big difference for me playing here. It was all American guys. I'm used to playing with my international guys that are a bit different, right? It's like, I remember Tusculum, Alan was an international guy, Jono, all these other coaches we have, all international guys. Like, we were literally, Sean felt like the odd one out, being the American of the group.
So did you actually felt like the difference in terms of like the playing style or the team, like the chemistry and the environment in the dressing room? Did you really felt that?
No, for sure. I still remember, like, in our locker room, it always used to be our Spanish Latino music, and then the Frenchies would always put on that World Cup song when they won the World Cup that year, right? In the American locker room, we're listening to rap music.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your rap, something like, and for me, it's so different. Like, I have to go put my own headphones on and do my own thing, because it's like I'm so used to our international culture and the climate. But it's not a bad thing. It's not like I'm saying the Americans suck. But it's different for sure. Like, again, I'm used to having a bunch of English guys on the team where we can talk our English banter and talk about football, right?
No.
These American guys, they don't watch football or they don't understand football the way we do. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's a little bit different.
So another question. I know this is your podcast.
No. Please.
I really need to ask this, man. Like, so what do you think the result would be between the 2018 Tusculum and your school?
I've always said, I think that 2018 Tusculum team was the best college team I play on.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think so. I just think there was collectively with the team, too much talent from different areas. I'm not saying this team is bad, but I just think that team we had was special. I mean, from where we came from to where we ended up.
Yeah, don't you feel like from the starting 11, like, and even the rest of the guys, probably 15 guys in the team, like, all of them could continue playing, and like what I was saying before.
Well, it's, again, I think one of the awesome things I still remember, when you got hurt, Sammy, it never felt like, I always say, it never felt like you had a second keeper. It felt like a guy that was comfortable, ready to play there and now, a number one goalkeeper though. like that's how it felt.
We had that conversation a couple of times. Remember, we were saying like when he arrived, that was a really good level, and it was unfortunate for him because like he could literally play for any school, and then we had so much talent.
We thought we used to say I thought we had the best two keepers in the conference. From what we were playing against, that's what it felt like.
The wingate guy was good too.
Oh no, for sure he was. But it's like you look at our squad. I mean, when you looked at centre back, you had me, Mateos, Georgios. I used to go left back as well with Pau. Like it felt like Gustavo as well. Clemon was probably the only one where he would always start and you're okay. The others, you could put in anyone here and there. Like I remember midfield, we had Fabian, Edgar, Sean, Oscar used to play in the middle. Like the Ayuk, Johnny, Dario, Enrique. We had so many different guys in Ayuk, bro. We had so many different guys that it felt like whichever team we put out, it was okay. That team was crazy. That's why you look back, like Ivan as well in the middle. We had so many guys that we just sit there and look at. It's like I think we got unlucky getting young Harris.
I know, man. I know.
Because because we played. The thing is, we played both of them in the season. We played young Harris and Landa in the season. I still remember Landa game, the penalty, two penalties.
Penalties, man.
Like
I remember
a different game. It's because we lost 2-1, 88th minute, whatever. The young Harris 4-0. Okay, young Harris was the best team in the country at the time. So, it was hard. But the second game we played against Young Harris, that game was 50-50. That was not... Anyone could have won that game,
That was one of the most heartbreaking things. Like, when I had to leave the field against Queens because my hand... Man, I couldn't play anymore. My hand was just... I was in so much pain, and I was afraid of, like, making saves with my left hand because of the pain. And I couldn't play that game, and I was, like... It was devastating for me. I was so sad. I remember.
That's why it's college back then, especially like when you're in it, it feels so real and it feels so good to be a part of, So do you think playing now that you're not playing in college, does it feel the same? I'm not saying like commitment levels, but obviously, like you said, the guys in college, they feel like your actual family. For you, obviously playing overseas so far away from home, does it feel the same in terms of the guys feel like your family, or is it more all the other guys, they do their own professional thing and then you just turn up to training and train,
No, it's definitely different. It's definitely different, man, because it's different because here it's our job, So everything is a little bit more like professional, and the pressure is even one step higher now. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's your job, man. So things in the dressing room might be a little bit more, more professional. Sometimes it will be quiet, really quiet. When the results are not going your way.
Yeah.
You can feel the pressure and the tension. But at the end of the day, the environment is good. Even here, the environment is good. We don't have that mixture of nationalities because, of course, I'm playing like the fourth tier. So it's not like you're gonna have people from all over the place, like players from all over the world. It's basically 80%, 85% Italian guys.
Yeah.
So it's different. And of course, I enjoyed it more when I was in college, man. Here it's your job and you have to perform, and you're gonna have a good relationship with the guys, but at the end of the day it's not the same. You're not living with them. It's not like what we're saying right now, like you end up practice and you go to eat and you spend 3 hours with them, and then you end up eating and you go to your room and you probably share your room with someone else. It's not like that, but it's definitely different, but I enjoy both things.
It's a locker room that you obviously mentioned, right? How is your environment with the training and stuff? Like, it's obviously during the day, afternoon, every night, games, travel. How is that different, or would you say, compared to what we went through in college? Because again, like college, like you said, and we were saying, you don't you're not spending as much time with the guys where you are now compared to how you were in college, right? So how do you find that environment when you're training for travel games and stuff compared to college?
Yeah, well, so practice-wise, man, it's really similar. It's really similar. We practice like 4 times a week. Then, of course, the day after the game, you're free. Then it depends, like the time of the practice. Of course, it depends on the club. Here we're practicing at 6 p.m. Just in case our guys have an hard job, so everyone can make it to practice. And yeah, practices are intense. They're intense, probably a little bit more intense than in college. But that's also because you have here you have players that are older. In college it's like basically an under 23, and here you have older guys, and the mentality is just so different, man.
Yeah.
Like, I compare myself now to what I was in college, and I'm probably like 2 times better, man. And it's just because of the experience and your mentality and how it changes.
It's one of the things I miss about playing back home. Like when I come to college, obviously, for me, I was playing senior men's football since I was 16. I was playing with men, like some guys that are 35 and they don't care if I'm 16. They're gonna, if they want to hurt me, they can hurt me, right? And obviously coming to college, like you said, under 23s, sometimes you feel like it's men against boys, Like I still remember some of the teams we played against, like Lenore Ryan. They had 2 strikers that were French that were 25 years old. We had guys that were 18 years old. There's a difference. You have some guys that are mature men, and then you have other guys, like you said, now that you're playing with. You might have 5 guys that are 32, 33 that have got a family and they still play football, but it's very serious to them. Like, they can do things to you if you don't want them to. It's definitely crazy.
But that also makes you a better player, Like when you're young and you have these guys training next to you, they can give you some advice. You can just look at them and see how they act, what's their mentality, how they approach games, and you grow, So that's something you don't have in college, because you're surrounded by guys that are the same age as you, and everyone is so young. So I believe that's like the primary difference, between both of them. And then the traveling is different, especially because, man, in the US, you go to play to a team that's in your conference, and it's probably 3 hours away because it's so big. Here, that's the longest distance we have to make to play in the region. Then when you Serie C, which is like the 3rd division, is national.
Yeah.
So that's a big change. But in my league, like this league is regional. Then you can go and play with our parts,
Yeah.
But that's another big difference, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know a goalkeeper, an English guy. He's half Italian as well. He played in the City C. So like he used to say, he played like in all the academies in England. He lives in Australia now and he plays there. And he always used to say, like, once you get to that level with the travel, it's even more crazy, But yeah, the one question I did want to ask you is, obviously playing in Italy, do you find it's easy to move up the ranks through the leagues? And also another question I was going to say, when you get guys that are much older, maybe 35, 36, coming to the end of their career, do you find guys dropping down to still play at a good level, or is it they just want to be one and done? Because like I know in Australia, like I've said, a lot of times, the NPL especially, you've got guys that can definitely play in the first division that don't, because they can make a lot more money working their job, playing NPL. But also you have guys from the A-League that come down and are like, I'm not doing well in the A-League, let me come down and play there. So I guess that's one of the questions I wanted to ask. What do you, in your terms in Italy, what do you find in that regard?
Yeah, so it's exactly the same, man, to be honest with you. So I face guys like that have literally played in Serie A when they were younger. So, and it's crazy because it's like you say, they can actually earn more money here than playing in one league or 2 leagues above. And since they are getting to the end of their careers, they prioritize the money. So yeah, and you're playing with them, and that makes the level, of course, better, which is a good thing. So yeah, that the second question, yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I believe it's the same everywhere. And the first question, that's a bad thing about the Italy, man, especially for me as a keeper, because there is a rule. I already told you about this, but for the people that's listening, there is a rule that you need to have 4 under-21s in the team, and not only like in the 18, like in the starting 11, and every time in the field there have to be 4 under-21s. So most of the teams use the goalkeeper as one of them. That makes it really hard for me to move one category above to the next one. But like we were saying, so in terms of money, it's the same or even better in this league. So I don't really care, to be honest, man. Of course, it would be nice, but for me, what would be nice is Serie G, which is the first fully professional league. And that would be nice, man, because then you're really stepping it up to another level. So yeah, that would be my objective. But of course, it's not easy at all. So yeah, man, it's hard. It's not like England, England is much easier. I know people that play there, guys that have moved from 6th division to 3rd division. So England is different, man. Italy is not like that, and they have these rules which I don't really find them like good at all. But it is what it is,
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like you said, with England, again, in England, there's so many levels that are like below 5. National League is obviously still now fully professional. 6, 7, 8, 9, you're going to find teams in 9 that pay more than 6. Sometimes it's like that. It's honestly crazy. And in terms of the standard of playing, okay, there's the typical English saying that you obviously, when you think of an English footballer, we don't think like a Spanish or Italian footballer. In the lower levels in England, it's what you think of England, right? It's woo woo. So for some people, it's hard to move up because they're actually players, but they're stuck playing the long ball that we used to see. So they can perform. So it's very interesting, and obviously the rule in Italy that you mentioned. I think from an outside perspective, it's a good rule to have, but it's very hard for people like us because they're trying to promote their own youngsters, players getting into first team football and that, right? But it doesn't always work out to be good because. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That they try to promote them, but at the same time, and like all these under 21s that you end up having in your squad, they are guys that they probably were playing for the under 21 or the under 19 in one of the Serie A squads, and then they release them, and they can play here, and it's not like they're gonna go back to Serie A or Serie B, So at the same time, it's pointless. Because I don't know, man, but yeah, it depends. But I feel like it's not like you're gonna have players from Serie D jumping to Serie A.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
No, it's something that I think has been a bad flaw in Australia, for example, at times. When the National Premier League first came out, I think it was 2013, 2014. One of the big reasons was to enable and get more youngsters playing first team football. And from an outside perspective, obviously I've played in the NPL, it feels like they're using the platform to bring in more ex-pros to the league to make the league better. Yeah. And you're finding, so they changed the reserve team used to be under 20s. I now think the reserve age has moved to under 21. So just even adding that by 1 year is showing that there's going to be guys that are 20 years old that have never played senior football in their life, right? And
that's crazy.
It goes to, because obviously we have like you have like Coppa Italia that you play. We have like the Australian Cup. All the NPL teams, if you do really well, you get an A-League team. And that's when the players, there's been a bunch of players recently, when they play well in that game, they're getting signed to the A-League clubs, right? So realistically, they're using it to showcase their talent to go pro. It's not really, oh, we've got 17, 18, 19-year-olds, let's play them. No, it's, come on, boys, you want a pro contract? You need a ball out for this game, you know? So that's where it's very interesting.
That's what I mean, man. And almost in every other country it's like that. If you want to play the senior team, like you said, you have to perform and you need to show that you can play there. It's not like a rule is gonna protect you, so you can play there.
Yep.
So that's what I mean, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, also like for example in Australia you have the rule about international players.
Mm-hmm.
So every league has a rule like that, and it depends if it can affect you or not, depending of course if you're international, if you're under 21, if you're not. So yeah, every league has something like that.
Yeah, every league it's always spoken in England so much. Why are there so many foreigners playing in England? Why don't we have a lot of English guys? But the thing is, it's like there's not many English guys not playing in England, right? Or why is that? Because England, everyone wants to play in it. So it's every country, everywhere has all these different rules and stuff like that that it's either really good or really bad. We're only recently seeing English guys play in Italy. You know, there's only a couple. There's two of them play for Roma. One plays, where's the other one play? In AC Milan, right? So there's not many guys.
I remember Trippier was in Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
He was the only English
player. David Beckham was probably the last English player playing in Spain, right? Some countries, they're like, nope, we only want to... Everyone wants to go play in their country, but no one wants to leave and do something else, right? And it's like what you say. For you, I think it's really cool, right? You obviously have your Italian citizenship, so why would you not go play in Italy compared to playing in Argentina, right? But I guess that's the last thing I'll probably ask. What do you see or what do you want in the next, let's say, 5 years for your playing? Is it trying to get the Serie C in Italy, or are you thinking, I want to try a different country completely? Do I want to try the Middle East? Do I want to try somewhere else in Europe, like France, maybe England, something like this? Or what do you, realistically, if you had the big picture, what do you see?
Yeah, so like I'm actually open to moving to another country. Australia would be interesting. Like I told you once when we were talking outside of this conversation. England, of course, I would love it, man. But it's hard because it's like I told you before. Everything needs out contacts. So at the end of the day, so if you don't have like a contact to at least get into the system, like I did here in Italy, it's really hard. Once you are into the system, once you get to your first team in that country, then you can show yourself, you can play, there are people gonna start to know you. But yeah, the hard thing is the first step to get there. But yeah, I would love to play in our places where probably the culture or the style of playing is gonna be better for me. I think Australia, England, I would feel more comfortable, you know. But right now I'm doing well here in Italy, and it's like I said, after 1-2 years, people start to know your name, like you start to make a name for yourself, and things get easier. So what realistically what's probably gonna happen is this season is gonna end. I'm gonna go back home, and after 1 month and a half, I'm gonna have a team from Italy contacting me, saying we're interested in getting you. So at the end of the day, it's most likely that I'm gonna come back here. Yeah, like I said before, it's not impossible. So my goal in terms of football is of course, to move to a higher league, and if I can make it to Serie C, that would be amazing, and that would be a dream come true. Professional contract. So yeah, that would be the dream, you know. But right now, I'm so happy, man. Like, if tomorrow if I suddenly decide, like, if I go to practice, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and then the next day I go back to practice and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to keep playing, and I decide to stop playing, I would still be happy because I would have achieved to live from football, you know. That was my primary goal, and I still remember one day in practice when Josh was still at Tasco, and he said, which one of us, like he asked, which one wants to keep playing and live from football? And it was only like 5 or 4 or 5 of us that lifted our hand. And so I go back to that day, and then I go back to when I finished college, and it seemed really hard to achieve it. So right now I go back and I feel so happy now. So I feel like if tomorrow I decide I don't want to play anymore, I would be happy with it. I would be happy with myself. But yeah, right now for now I don't have the idea of stop playing.
No, that's awesome, man. Honestly, like I do remember that conversation that Josh had as well I do remember. No, it's crazy, man, and that's why it's so nice to talk to people about their football, right? Because every single one of us has had a different start, a different end, and everyone has had different steps in between, right? And like we said, your story, the way everything worked out after COVID, man, it's awesome, you know? Like for me, I'm very happy hearing that if you retire tomorrow, you can sit back and when you're 65, smoking cigars, drinking your wine, you can go, I was happy, you know? Like I managed to, that's all you want. That's what you want at the end of the day. And like for me, I've always said.
Sorry, one thing, like that's it at the end, man, because I remember when I was in Spain, I didn't say this before, but I actually got a job that was really good, well paid. It was related to what I have studied, to my degree. And literally 3 days after I got the job, so I got 2 interviews, I got the job. 2 days after, I got the offer to come play in Italy. So it was such a hard decision. And I talked to my family, my friends and everyone. And I said, if I don't go play and fulfill this like objective or dream, whatever you want to call it, then when I'm 65, like you said, I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say, I was scared. I was scared, you know. I went for the easy solution and I didn't do what I want to do. So at the end of the day, that was what made me come here and prioritize like football and say, okay, I'm gonna go give everything and just be happy, man.
Yeah, man. I've had the exact same thoughts. I always say to myself, if I have kids in the future, which I do when I have kids, how can I be that type of parent that pushes their kid to be the best if I didn't do that myself, right? It's like if I take the easy way out, if I get a good job and it offers me really good money and I just throw in the towel for football and say, no, that's it, I'm done. What type of parent or example would I be to my own kid if I'm trying to make them play football if I didn't do it myself, right? If I just gave up and when I'm 23, it's okay, I'm happy, right? Like, no, like I always say, until I think my opportunity is burnt out, where I don't see myself getting better or the progression, then okay, then I can retire and stuff like that, right? So no, I think the exact same way with that. It's like, again, you can't keep going. Eventually, like we say, you can't get to 28, have no money, and then I still want to go pro. Eventually, in your head, there's going to be a time where you're like, okay, if it hasn't happened before 33, right? It's probably not going to happen. So
no, of course, man. Like, so I think exactly the same. But at the end of the day, that was another thing that I was thinking. So when I got this job offer, I was 23. So I was still, man, there's people that graduate with 27, being 27. So I was like, I'm still really young. If I want to start working and making a career and improving my curriculum with my degree and everything, I still have time to do that. I'm going to work until I'm 65 years old.
Yeah.
So, so I said, okay, I'm just going to take my shot and go for at least 2-3 years. I'm going to go and I'm going to play and I'm going to live from it and I'm going to enjoy it. And then I can just, like I said, retire, sit back and say, I made it. Like, that's it.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like, again, you might work till you're 65, but you can only really play football till about 35, right? So once you've done the rest of those years, it becomes crazy. And that's why for me, I've always said that I do want to try and play in another country as well. But the thing I think has always been difficult for me, you speak 2 languages or 3 languages, right? You got your Spanish, Italian, English. I can't really go play in Italy. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, man, I didn't speak Italian at all. I came like I didn't know a single word. But I'm getting better at it.
no, for sure.
Man, I haven't. Now that you say that, I haven't speak English for like 2 years. Man.
Yeah.
It's the first time I
Yeah.
2 years. So this is also good practice for me.
I say 10 out of 10. You're still very good. Very good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, it's good. It's good. No, it's things like that I wish I stuck to learning language. I genuinely I wish I still did. For sure. I think it would help so much.
Yeah, but you can go to Australia. Man. That's a good place to play.
Oh yeah, for playing and stuff for sure. But again, for me, it's one of those things. I've already been there and done that. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I know. I feel it.
It's like, so I always say to my parents in that, because my parents are always wondering where are me and my brother gonna end up, right? Because my brother's just come to America, so he's got 4 or 5 years in America. I've already done.
His best years, bro.
He's got everything coming ahead, right? I'm about to be the polar opposite and be done. So now it's figuring out where do they want to live, because they want to be somewhat close, right? And it's like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to go back to Australia. I love the country. The football is good, but it's just, again, you know how I am. I don't like settling exactly. Like, I like going to different places, and like in the summer, right? You wanted to go to Med City, you've been to this summer team, you like the different adventures, the different cultures, the different experiences. That's what I like. I don't like being comfortable all the time. I like going somewhere I've never been to, don't know many people. It makes the experience more enjoyable.
It's like ticking an hour, man. They're calling me. I don't know what's going on. It's like ticking an hour box.
For sure, man. For sure. It's honestly crazy, man. But I think the last thing I will say is, what are the expectations for your season now? How is everything? What's the end plan with this season, with how it's going and stuff like that?
Yeah, okay, so we actually lost in Coppa Italia on Wednesday.
Okay.
Man, it's okay. Honestly, tournament, it's 38 matches. So it's really, really long. Our squad, they made it to maintain the category, like not to go down. So our objective is that playing both competitions, we started to struggle with injuries. It always happens. So at the end of the day, honestly, I believe it was better for us to be out of Coppa Italia, and now we can focus on the tournament. We're doing pretty good. For me, like in the middle of the table, we have a good difference with the teams that are in relegation zone. So right now it's just a matter of making points game by game. I personally I've been doing good, man. So I'm happy about that as well. Of course, I can always get better. I believe, like as a keeper, especially, you get better year after year, because 70% of being a keeper is like experience, honestly. So year after year, you get better, and yeah, man, I'm really happy that we're doing good. We have a good group. We have some good players. Some guys from Argentina. One guy has played Serie A in Argentina. Another one Serie B. So we have like experienced guys that have played in really, really good level. When we have our starting 11 healthy, we have a pretty good team. So I believe we're not gonna have any problems, like not to go down, So probably the last 6-7 games, if we are already like safe, enjoy it and try to have the best year as possible.
No, for sure, man. That's good for the team. Actually, I got another question. Goalkeeper, obviously,
yeah.
You guys are fucking crazy, right? Like, you got we always.
I don't know if crazy is the word, man. I believe we're just different.
Yeah,
we're different.
But like, do you think you play like a different sport other than football? Because everything you do is 100%. Different. Everything you do is different. Even the way you kick a ball is a bit different, like, right? With your goal kicks, like, I know how to strike a ball that's still. But you guys are probably the best strikers of the ball in the world. I think goalkeepers should always take penalties. I think if it comes to a shootout, I do, because the amount of training you guys do where the ball is still, like, you guys do more finishing drills probably than strikers. You probably head the ball more than strikers do, because you do all this little technical stuff 95% of the day, right? And then you jump into the final bit. We're going to do a bit of possession. We want the goalkeeper here. Like, do you not think you guys are, do you think you guys are crazy? But what got you into being a goalkeeper and going down that route?
Okay, so first I'm going to start. Man, if you saw my kicking now, you would be surprised.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have improved so much for the last couple of years. But yeah, like what you asked, first of all, like I said, I believe it's just we're different, and it's because it is a different sport, man. It's like that's why you have a goalkeeper training, which is separate from the group. From the mental point of view, it's, I believe, no question, the hardest position, because you're gonna get destroyed by people. Like, even if you're playing, if you don't have like the press, like my level, for example, you don't have the press talking about you, but you can play 6 games in a row, clean sheet, 3 man of the match performances, and then 7th game you drop a cross. People will be like, man, I don't know if he's good enough, you know? I don't know if he's good enough. So from the mental point of view, it's the hardest position, and then yeah, of course, like, all the technical stuff you're playing with your hands, so it is a different sport. What was the last question you asked?
What exactly got you into being a goalkeeper? Obviously, most kids and stuff like that, when they grow up, they want to be the striker and all that stuff, right? Obviously, being a goalkeeper, what led you to being
first,
that?
I believe, man, it's part of, like, your personality has to, like, you need to have a certain personality to be a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Because if your ego is too big, you can't be a goalkeeper, man. Like, that's why strikers are always like the biggest egos in the team, and goalkeepers sometimes they seem like the quietest guys, and then inside they probably be crazy. But yeah, I believe what got me into being a goalkeeper, I was in a practice. One of my first practice, actually, I was 7 years old, and I believe second practice we were doing a scrimmage. You don't have position at the time, of course, you're 7 years old. So I just went on goal, and I made a couple of good saves, and the coach said, I think you should go try out in a club, because you're saving the ball, you're not afraid of the ball, which is the most important thing when you're really young. And that's how I became a goalkeeper. But to be honest, man, sometimes I think, and I'm like, I should have played in another position because of the abuse you get by being a goalkeeper. It's so hard. So, but yeah, it's the best feeling and the worst feeling at the same time.
No, that's why I asked, because obviously I still always remember back to training, like when we used to do like small-sided games and stuff, right? It's the goalkeeper, you guys are the only ones that would get hammered, so to speak, because you can make 10 good saves, right? But if you let in the 11th one, oh, come on, Ali, and I still remember, but like you had that, you always used to say the same Spanish words when you let in a goal or made a mistake, and it was just your curse words, you know? And I always remember, I'm like, this is what I do it. The guys here, they always say, whenever like I make a bad pass, they can hear me say, fuck off, Ayrton. Like, they hear me say it to myself. And I was like, because that's how I am. But it's goalkeepers, you guys are, I just, your one always sticks in my mind, because I just think, remembering back to practice, you have 100 saves in practice. If you don't make 100, you're going to get mad at yourself, right? It's like, I always think most goalkeepers think they can save almost every shot they face. It's like, for a defender, right? You could move your feet to block the shot. Goalkeepers, every person has a say on how a goalkeeper should save the shot. Like, if it's near post, if it's the near post, goalkeeper should never be beat at the near post. But if they're going the roof of the net from 6 yards out at the near post, it's almost impossible to save, right? But you can move your feet. It's, and that's why I always think it's interesting, because like, if a guy's shooting from the middle of the goal, He's got such a big target area, target space. But if the guy's on the angle, the far post looks fantastic, right? Like Messi, Robben, whipping it far post. But you're starting to find guys go the roof of the net at the near post, and they're like, oh, no, goalkeeper should save that. But it's...
Yeah, because they only stick to the basics, like what they have heard. But since they've never played the position, they don't understand a couple of things, So sometimes, for example, goalkeeper gives a rebound, and they're like, how is he giving that rebound? And he is probably saving a really tough shot. And it's one of those where you can't control where the rebound goes because you barely save it.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard enough to save it, and then they expect you to place the rebound somewhere else. Things like that, and that's because they don't know the position, and they never have shots coming to them, and they don't know how hard it is. But it's part of the game, it's part of the game. It's the same, like, happens to the defenders as well, Like, they probably make a play which people that never played as a defender, they don't understand how hard it is, and they say, what are they doing? But that's how people is, So the other keeper, the second keeper here, is a really experienced guy. He's like 36, and he told me, if you wanna, like, you as a goalkeeper, what you hear has to come from in this year and go out in the area. You know what I mean? Because people are just gonna talk nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have a clue and they're just gonna talk.
Yeah.
So you can't focus on what they say because it's pointless.
It's one of I love that point that you made, because I always say, like when you see guys get nervous or something before a game, for me, it's like the thing, no coach can tell you what to do. And I say that because you've played football now for 18 years, right? You know what you're doing now, Ali. You know what I mean? Like, you know what you're good at, what you're bad at.
Yes.
You, like what you said, in one ear, out the other. You know what to focus on. You know the things that are going to help you in a really good way. And you know the things that... So everything else is just outside noise. It's just a distraction. It's not beneficial. Like you said, defenders, we get it a lot, of course. Like, I make some bad passes or a bad tackle and stuff like this. But a goalkeeper is... I always like... You'll come out from a corner and you'll just tip the cross. Why is he punching it? Why is he not... It's very hard, sometimes difficult when you...
They're the most... the hardest thing as a goalkeeper are crosses. And people just don't get it. And they're like, he should be coming out and kneeing people and destroying the attacker. Yeah. And they don't understand that, first of all, you're not focusing on destroying the attacker. You're focusing on hitting the ball. Yeah. It's like when you go for a header,
Well, it's one of the things...
So people, they tell because they don't know.
No, it's. I completely agree. It's one of the things, like, again, when I go up for a header, if the ball's coming up, I'm not looking at the person. I'm just watching where the ball's going. I don't worry about everything else that's going on around me, right? I couldn't tell you how many corners come in and I've either been smashed and fall over because I'm not strong, I'm not set, I'm just looking at the ball. This guy's watching the ball come in, he's watching it, we're guessing where the ball's coming, right? Like, as a keeper, you have to guess, the ball might come exactly here, this person's running here, he's running here, he's coming here, and then you get completely smashed. It's very hard for you to stay strong and hold the ball or catch the ball.
And you have to, it's not like, for example, as a defender, like you're saying, you're probably marking in zone, and you're just waiting. If the ball comes here, I'm gonna hit it. But you don't have, as a keeper, you have to go look for the ball in the middle of 8 people. Yeah. So, and they're gonna elbow you. They're gonna give you a little tap, so you go in the air and they touch you, so you move and you don't catch the ball. So yeah, it's so hard. But what you said before is actually interesting, man. About being nervous before the game. Nowadays, I'm more experienced. When I was 18, I used to get really nervous. Then you get more experience and you start to take it in another way. Mm-hmm. And now, before the games, I think how many games I have played in my life, like 2,000, 3,000 games, you know? So I'll be nervous, I already know what I have to do if things go my way, good. If they don't, that's the game, like how it goes. So I believe that's the mentality.
No, for sure, man. That's how I try to think anyway. If I have a big game coming up, I'm always like, Eton, relax. Like, you've played 500, you've probably played thousands of games, you've kicked the football 20 million times. Relax, it's okay. Like, it's just another you're gonna kick the ball another 100 times today. It's all good, you know. So, no, yeah, Ale, it's been awesome talking to you, man.
Yeah, amazing. Honestly, I could keep talking for like 3 hours.
I know, yeah. So, we will definitely do this again. I will say that. We will definitely do it again, for sure. I will definitely make sure we catch up. Maybe when your season's done and stuff like that, maybe your future plans are more clear. We can talk much more again.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
No, thank you, man. It's been good seeing you. Happy belated birthday again. Did you drink yesterday?
Just a couple of beers, man, because we have a game.
Yeah, shower game and stuff like that. Yeah. Awesome, man. All right. Take care, Ale.
Okay.
Enjoy, man.
Thanks, bro.